Hello, Cami. Rhonda Constant, your favorite hometown medium, physical energy healer, oracle card advisor, paranormal investigator. How are you today? I don't need to explain all this to you, but I just want to remind you this is not an exact science. So they just tell us what we need to hear, maybe not what we want to hear. And they don't tell me all the details. They just tell me enough so you understand what they're talking about. So we're going to talk to Brian again today. I will say I kind of pushed you back behind some readings because you just got a reading, so I wanted to give it just a few more days until it felt right. He comes, okay, comes walking in. He says to tell her I love her because she's doubting that. She's doubting that I love her because of what I did. Because oh, it makes me want to cry. Because she feels like if I truly loved her, I wouldn't have left. He said that's not it at all. He's kind of hanging his head down, going like this. His energy's getting just really soft. He says this had nothing to do with her. Nothing to do with her. Everything that occurred, everything that occurred was because of something in me. Something I couldn't tackle. Something I couldn't conquer. And then he looks right at me and he said it was the lack of love for myself. Lack of love for myself. And he's just pausing. And I will say while he's pausing, this week is the week that somebody that I love very deeply, this Saturday will be the day that we found him after he killed himself. So these readings are very strong for me, and I totally understand the coulda, shoulda, woulda. Is that all you want me to explain? That's why I pause. And they still kick my ass. So it has been a tough week. Does it get better? Yes. Does it ever go away? No. You just learn how to live with it. I know that's not really encouraging, but you just learn to live with it. It's tough. Super tough. I don't know for sure what he's doing. He's got it's like a plastic box. It's fairly small, maybe smaller. I don't. Sometimes they make things look larger to make sure that I look at it. So it may not be as big as he's showing, but it's got like nuts and bolts and odds and ends. It's kind of a catch-all box for screws and he's rattling it. He's rattling it. So if you have a box like this in your house, or at least imagine what that sound is. And that's I ask my peeps to come up with something new, something unique for each one of you. If they're going to leave a sign, because everybody knows the coins and the feathers and the cardinals and all that stuff. So his is this catch-all plastic. Imagine what the sound would be. And more than likely, I never say never because sometimes it will, more than likely it won't be super loud. And more than likely you won't be in the same room. You'll go like walk out of the kitchen and you'll hear this noise. I'm like, what the heck is that? Whenever you get any sign from him, acknowledge him, tell him you love him, and ask him to bring you more. And you will. He will. You'll get them. I love showing people. That's one of my jobs, is to show people. Everybody's getting signs. They just don't know it. And when you're in really new, deep grief, it's harder to hear or see the signs. I don't even know how to explain it. It's almost like you have a wall up. And I know that's when you need them. That's when I want them now. But it just works that way. So know that as time goes on, you'll get more and more and more. So watch for the repeating thing. It's trying to get your attention. That seems, whatever it is that makes you think of him, that keeps happening over and over and over, that will be a sign too. Let's see if he shows me anything else. Okay, he's singing the song, If You're Happy and You Know It, Clap Your Hands. And then he's going, and it's a happy song, and I sing it to my girlfriend whenever she's not smiling, and I go, I'm going to keep singing it till you clap your hands and sing with me. And but when he gets to the song, If You're Happy and You Know It, Stomp Your Feet, he is stomping his feet super, super hard, like in anger. And he wants you to do that. He wants you to stomp your feet and yell if that's what you need to do. He says, let it out, get it out, stomp your feet. And know, literally do this song when nobody's around. And stomp your feet and know that when you do that, he's going to be right there with you, putting his arm around you. And he's showing you, sorry, when they get close up, my head itches. He's showing you looking down at your feet as you're stomping them viciously. And he's on your right side, and he puts his arm around your shoulder, and you may not feel it yet, but you should feel a little pressure, like where somebody's arm would go around your shoulder, hand up here is what he's showing. You could feel warmth along there because it's their energy. You could feel tingling. You could feel something like creepy crawlers, like I feel when he gets real close. Dang it. I can't help it itch. Know that if you don't feel it now, you will later. I promise you, you will get signs. Now he's showing, he's outside. He's by a garage or somebody's, I can only see the corner of it. There's some kind of birds. They just went bird hunting. Some kind of birds. They're dead. They've been out hunting. There's 3 or 4 other guys. I think one's name starts with an S. I stink at names, so don't ever throw out a whole reading just if I mess up a name. And you did say something about him hunting. I can't tell if these are ducks or pheasants. They're a bigger bird. He says, I wish I was still there with them. Why did I do this? That was my happy time. Sorry, I'm asking him something. That's something I love to do. That's something I love, spending time with the boys. Yes, I messed it up. I want them to continue to do it in memory of me. And when they're going out and sitting, so it might be ducks, but he's showing me like sitting in the tall weeds or something. Go ahead and cuss me out. He said you did ask one question. He said if he had gone that day, he still would have done it. Maybe not that day, but he still would have done it. This is not the first time he thought of it. But I do love you. Where he's going, he's moving, he's moving. He's mentioning a Harold. Like I said, I don't know why they keep giving me names. So it's at least a male with an H or an HA name that he's acknowledging. He says you either have or you're going to feel his presence in the bedroom. Like he's standing there. You know, making me itch. You guys got to stop doing that. You know how when you feel somebody staring at you, like across the room behind you, you can just feel that? You're going to just feel his energy in the room. He's going to make his presence. You will feel it. Just, I don't know how to, everybody, everybody feels it different. Everybody has a different way of feeling energy. I'm not exactly sure how to tell you how you're going to feel it, but you're just going to know. He says when you've been, I don't know if it's just in the bedroom or in bed, he's not showing that you've felt, and he's showing the left ear, you felt something tickling you. And it'll feel like a hair. I don't know how long your hair is or anything. I try not to look at people's Facebook, but it just felt where he was tickling your ear. Once again, acknowledging. He says, tell my daughter I'm sorry. Tell all of them I'm sorry, but tell her I'm sorry. She knows why. Pain makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do. She's this particular one, so I'm not sure how many you have. But this particular one is going to be laying in bed, and I don't know if she's going to dream this or thinks she dreams this, where she's laying in bed and she opens her eyes and looks up and he's standing there. And then she's going to go right back to sleep and feel totally, instead of freaking out, she's going to feel totally comfortable, totally loved, totally safe, because she knows he's there. She may not actually realize it, but that's going to be the end result. So he is definitely going in her room and standing there and watching her. Oh, that sounds kind of creepy, but no, just kind of like a loving parent would watch their child sleep in that way. Like, I'm here. And he's hanging his head like in shame. And even though I can't say we really have the negative emotions when we're up there, but this is something he's working through up there. And I think I might have told you before, when we get up there, they cleanse us of all this heavy earthly stuff. So it's like peeling the layers of an onion off to get all that crap that we hang on to down here. So he's still working through that. But I've never had one that has done this, that has ever, in my experience, that has ever said, I'm glad I did it. It says way on the wayside. Have no idea what that means. Does somebody have his duck call? And he's showing it as like on a string, like you could put it around your neck. So you would have it right there when you wanted to call a duck. I don't know if he did duck hunting. I know he did bird hunting. But he's holding it up and showing it. He says somebody has this. And it's like a cherished possession, or it needs to be their cherished possession. I can't. It's hard for me to talk with my new teeth. I can't tell if somebody already has this or if you need to give this to somebody. I'm asking you something. All right, there's a man that walks up behind him from the back, and he's dressed in a suit. How would I describe a suit? It almost looks like a tweed suit or something. He's got a fedora type hat on. Older man. Not skinny, but not real large. Sometimes wore a tie, but not this time. Well, now he's showing a tie. Hey, hang on. But I wouldn't say like dressy dress suit. He says, I have our boy. You don't need to worry about him. He's in good hands. We're doing the things that we need to do to take care of this. But he wanted to come forward and let you know that he's with him. So I hope that's a good enough description that you know who this is. It almost feels like a grandfather, father type figure. Now he shows himself going into the living room, flopping down on the couch. Not just sitting, but flopping down on the couch, laying back. He's got his arm over his head. I usually describe it because I never know if it makes a difference or not. His arm over his head and his eyes shut. And he's showing the thoughts just swirling around in his head, whirling around in his head. He says, I was too guarded. I didn't want to let anybody in. And those thoughts just kept. When we obsess over a thought, especially a negative one, it brings more of that to us. It's law of attraction. It works 100% of the time. He's got his legs stretched out and one's crossed over the other. It's about this arm over his almost over his eyes. And he's just thinking. So this is something that he did, and you might even see now, you could see a depression on the couch or squeak. Do you have a chair in the living room that squeaks? He's saying something about hearing a squeak, like when he sits on something, or listen for that little squeak. I don't know for sure that he's talking about the couch. Hamburger. He mentions wanting a hamburger. Now he's showing a suitcase in the bedroom. All right, what are you going to do with the suitcase? I'm getting two different things from this suitcase. So one is that he wants you to go ahead and stay at somebody's house, or you have been staying at somebody's house. So you're not alone, even though I know you got kids, or I don't know how many kids. Or he wants you to. He wants you to go somewhere. But also that it's okay to go ahead and start packing up some of his things, even though you're not ready. He said it's just stuff. I don't need it. You'd be surprised how unimportant that stuff is once you get here. Everything we put so much importance on is just stuff. There's a picture of him sitting somewhere in the house, someplace you walk by all the time, and you blow it a kiss when you go by. Oh, you also cuss at it, and that's good. That's healthy. He's being kind of slow forthcoming with his stuff. Could be because he's new up there. I'm not sure. Did he smoke? I don't feel like he was a smoker, but he's showing me like a little wisp of smoke. And usually when they show smoke, then it's a sign, even though this evidently is going to be a sign. Usually it like goes across your nose. It's like it moves past you. But this is like if somebody was holding a cigarette out and you know how the smoke goes up. He's showing me a stream of smoke like that. This is going to be something more that you're going to see instead of smell. So you might just see it like a wavy line, like a little mist or a little fog. I don't know how you're going to see it for sure. I don't want to set it in stone because it depends on how open you are to it. But it'll look like a little wisp of smoke going up off a cigarette. You could possibly smell a cigarette. I don't know because I don't feel like he smoked. But you'll see it, and more than likely, you might see it dead on, but more than likely, most of the time when you see things like that, it's out in your peripheral vision. He says, hallelujah. Somebody's a carbon copy of him. He's still walking around the house. Now he's just showing me walking around the house. So I asked my Bob to step forward because Bob left in the same way, and he understands how this works, and he works with me all the time. And he's got his arm around him. He's going to make sure things happen the way they're supposed to. Bob said he's going to explain the facts of life to him. He's talking about this aspect of it. Bob knows what he did to us. He's a very good guide. Somebody that will guide him. Bob says they're going to go fishing. And they're going to sit there with their fishing poles and they're going to talk about stuff. So I think Bob's going to explain to him how this works, how it works for us on our end, because he's had his ass eaten out more times than I can count. And even this week. Okay, and I might have said this before, I don't know, but I know in the picture he has this little hair thing. I don't know what you call it. It's not a goatee there. You're going to feel that like brush on your cheek, like he's rubbing it on your cheek. So it will feel like little hairs, like those kind of hairs, but it'll probably feel really, really slight. Probably. But it could also feel like a bug crawling. It can feel like a hair that you can't get off. Sometimes when they're really trying to get my attention, it feels like a pin sticking me. It's like, I don't like that one. But if I'm ignoring them, it might. He says that's all he really has to say for now. He just wants you to know how deeply he loves you. You can't take my pain upon yourself. Well, Bob's going to end up explaining to him we do take that pain upon ourselves. Can't help but do it when you leave in this way. Rob's smacking himself on the head. He goes, yep, I know. So, okay, they're leaving and they got their fishing poles. Doesn't mean you can't be here later, Bob, when I tell you to, when I need you. Okay, so they're leaving. I know there wasn't a whole lot of information in this one. I think he just really doesn't. Maybe he doesn't know what to say yet. So let me know if you get some of those signs. I know it's going to be a little tough to get them right now. Maybe. I know it was for me. I know it took a while. They're both walking off and waving. He's taking him to my spot. Bob and I have a spot where we have lawn chairs by the creek, and when I want to go sit and talk to him, I go sit in a lawn chair and with the fishing poles. And he's taking him to our spot. Okay, much love to you, my dear. I hope it helped a little bit. I know there's not a lot of info. I'm in your boat. It's not a nice club to be in. Believe me, I know. I understand. I totally understand. So reach out whenever you need to, because a lot of people that are in this boat are drawn to me because I've been in it, and it just, I think Bob brings them to me because he knows I understand from the bottom of my heart. It's been a rough week because of this. Much love to you. I am so, so sorry. Rhonda Constant, your favorite hometown medium, physical energy healer, oracle card advisor, paranormal investigator. More love to you than you know.